All right, it's been almost 20 hours since the final whistle yesterday, and I am still in a little bit of shock. I truly expected this team to go out and fight and work their tails off against Kentucky, and honestly, I saw anything but that. They ultimately got manhandled in a game that honestly was never truly competitive. And I think that there is a lot of blame to go around. And listen, you guys know I am someone who tries to keep it pretty positive. This sucks to have to do this because we weren't good. But at the end of the day, I am always going to call a spade a spade. I'm going to call it like I see it. So let's jump into it. This is not going to be pretty or fun. All right, we're going to talk about defense first. Florida's defense has been pretty good this entire season. This channel has sung their praises. We've talked about Austin Armstrong and what he brings to the table and the growth. I saw pretty much none of that yesterday. First of all, Florida had no sacks. Kentucky had 3. They gave up almost 300 yards to an individual back. That is basically almost unheard of. Ray Davis averaged 10.8 yards per carry, 280 yards. Not okay. We only had 4 tackles for a loss. Kentucky, well, they had 9. Our defensive line was essentially non-existent. I've talked about the defensive line on this channel a lot this year, and I've even taken a little bit of heat for maybe not being quite as positive about them as other people. They are a lot bigger than they were in the past. That is absolutely true. But I have said I haven't seen them be faster or it's as fast as I would like. And I really think that we saw that on the field yesterday. This was their worst game yet. And, they couldn't make a tackle. There seemed like there was no fundamentals. Anything that we have said has improved went out the window on Saturday. I want you to listen to these stats for a little bit, though, and in relation to defensive line so that you can kind of see what it is that I'm talking about. They are tied at 87th in the nation in sacks going into this game, right? So you know that number is worse now. 101st in tackles for loss, 104th in turnover margin, and dead last for turnovers gained. And the issue is it's really hard to get turnovers when your defensive line isn't bringing pressure. We aren't getting sacks. We aren't getting hurries. We aren't getting tackles for loss because we are not bringing pressure. This, though, has a huge trickle-down effect. It doesn't matter how good your DBs are if you aren't getting pressure on the quarterback. DBs can only be asked to cover their man for so long, right? Just a few seconds. And at that point, it's a large field, they're fast, it's hard to contain. None of this matters because Florida got their ass handed to them in the running game, right? But this is something that is going to be a problem in games to come. We watched it. There was no defensive line pressure. That is where your success or your failure as a defense starts. And Florida's was bad. And honestly, overall, the entire team looked unprepared. This is incredibly frustrating because we listened to Billy Napier for the last 2 years talk about how he was going to be meticulous. This rebuild was going to be slow. It was going to be done the right way. It was going to be based on fundamentals and how he is a detail-oriented coach. I'm going to give you an example that makes my blood boil. We had 13 men on the field on a first and goal at one point. 13. So, you're counting at home, 2 more than you're allowed. And I get it. There's not very much time in between plays. But the play before was a pass interference call. So that means that time was stopped. The play was stopped. They had to have time to announce that penalty. And Kentucky had an injured player on the play before too. So the entire training staff was out there for Kentucky. So there was more than a minute between the play before and the first down. And we still couldn't get the right guys out on the field. We still didn't think to count why does it seem like we have so many guys out there? What's going on? 13 men on the first and goal. And how many times over the summer did you practice goal line situations? You've got to think a lot, right? So how does this personnel not know who is supposed to be out there and who isn't? And given one whole minute between plays, how did nobody on the coaching staff notice that there was the wrong number of people out there? It's not okay. It's not good enough. Napier is just not good enough right now. Our play calling, terrible. Once Florida got down, it really honestly seemed like they just kind of panicked. Florida's offensive line wasn't good enough. They gave Graham Mertz 0 time. They gave up 3 sacks. But honestly, part of that's on Mertz too. He seemed incapable of recognizing a blitz yesterday. Only silver lining for the offense, we did somehow throw 3 throws over 30 yards. So there's that. Florida's offense, miserable the entire day, but the part that was the most frustrating to me, and I'm going to get into the weeds a tiny bit with you guys on this because I think that it's really worth mentioning. The offense is terrible on 3rd down, 4th and 13. And I think a large part of that is that the 3rd down play calling is atrocious. We hardly ever throw the ball to the line of scrimmage if it's a pass at all on 3rd or 4th down. And so that means what you are doing when you're drawing that up is that you are hoping for a missed tackle. That's a terrible way to make calls on 3rd down. But listen to this. We had 14 3rd downs. Only got 4 of them. Listen to what they were, though. 3rd and 15, run the ball. Didn't get it. 3rd and 18, run the ball. Didn't get it. 3rd and 1, run the ball. Okay, got a first down there. 3rd and 18, again, run the ball. Didn't get it. 3rd and 5, pass intercepted. That was that high throw, but honestly, if he catches it, it's beyond the sticks, so I'm not even going to count that one. 3rd and 6, pass complete for 13 yards. So there's another one of our first downs there. 3rd and 18, Mertz runs the ball for 4 yards. 3rd and 3, run the ball. We don't get it. 3rd and 12, pass to Jackson for 14 yards. So there's a first down. 3rd and 16, 9-yard pass. Don't get it. 3rd and 9, run the ball. Don't get it. 3rd and 5, Mertz runs for 2 yards. Don't get it. 3rd and 2, we run for 1 yard. We don't get it. 3rd and 11, pass complete for 9 yards. We don't get it. 3rd and 1, Mertz runs for 4 yards. We do get it. That is the breakdown of Florida's 3rd downs. On 3rd and mid and 3rd and long, we are running the ball or we are throwing the ball short of the first down markers. And I don't understand. 3rd and short, I get it. Run the ball or a quick drag route or a crossing route that's short. And that way, all the wide receiver has to do is either like turn up field or honestly even like fall forward and he gets the first down. But 3rd and mid or 3rd and long, we have got to throw the ball to the marker. This is a play calling decision. I've taken some heat on this channel about criticizing Billy Napier's play calling. I don't know how you look at those 3rd down play calls and think that they are good decisions. They just aren't. Going into the Kentucky game, we were tied at 116th for 3rd down conversions. List hasn't updated yet this morning, but I'm going to guess we didn't do ourselves any favors in that category. We ran a 50-50 split on run pass this weekend, which, that's fine. I think 60-40 is the ultimate goal, but that's not a big deal. The bigger problem for me is that our running backs are catching more balls than our receivers, and I think that that's a problem. Outside of Billy Napier's play calling being incredibly frustrating, which it is, I'm sure you're yelling at your TV just like I am, it's also incredibly predictable. Napier is calling games the same way, regardless of the opponent. It's almost like he says, okay, this is my offense. No matter who we're playing, this is what I'm running. This is what I think is going to work. This is what we're doing. It doesn't matter who we're playing. So honestly, maybe then that works the first time, right? You see it work against a Tennessee or you see it work against McNeese State or something like that. But it gives a blueprint for victory to the next team because you're doing the same thing every single time. It's not like this is the game plan for Tennessee. This is the game plan for Kentucky. This is the game plan for Missouri or whatever. This is the Gator game plan this year. And that is a problem. Another thing is that we lost the turnover battle again. Devin Leary was INT prone going into this game. He throws lots of interceptions. Florida didn't take advantage of it. We had one that was right there that we dropped, but outside of that, we didn't bring enough pressure to force somebody who makes mistakes on a regular basis to make those mistakes. You've got Vandy forcing him to throw interceptions. You got Akron forcing him to throw interceptions. But the Florida Gators couldn't figure out how to force him to throw interceptions. You guys know special teams is my bag. That's my favorite unit on the field. It's been the most frustrating for me this year. Kicking and punting were good. That is not something to complain about. Johnson's critical special teams error, that leaping penalty, that gave Kentucky a fresh set of downs. They got a 75-yard touchdown run the next play, and that directly cost us points. I've been telling you this entire season that special teams are going to cost us points directly, and they absolutely did on Saturday. That is a huge mental error that just can't happen. When the punter is out there, there's a group of guys in front of him called the wedge. They're his protectors. It is a penalty to leap onto them. That's exactly what happened, and it was costly. All right, guys, the other thing that really drove me nuts, fight song at the end of the game. There was some reports afterwards that players were told not to go sing the fight song at away games because they needed to hurry up to get on the bus, to get on the plane. I'm throwing the red flag on that one. I want this team and any Florida team to take the time to show respect for the name on the front of the jersey. Your charter plane will wait 5 minutes. So I don't know whether, maybe that's not on the players because that was a directive given to them from above, but it's a directive that needs to be changed. Every single player that plays on that team should go down, stand in front of the band, sing the fight song and the alma mater, and then go into the locker room. It's about respect. It's about respect for the university. It's about respect for the former guys that came before you. I think it's important. I think it speaks to culture, and I think it's something that absolutely needs to change. So I did a very similar video to this after the Utah game, and most of you guys felt exactly the same way. Except now there are no more gimmies, right? This staff has a schedule full of tough games ahead. They've got to get it figured out immediately. There is a gauntlet to come. I never thought that there would be a day when I would say Florida has a tough game next week against Vanderbilt, but they do. Vanderbilt beat Florida last year. There is a schedule full of teams who can beat the Florida Gators that are left for us. So if this team doesn't make immediate changes, it's going to be a problem. The easiest game left on the schedule is that Vanderbilt game next weekend. But if we play like we played against Kentucky, we will lose. Yesterday sucked. I get it. But this team has got to figure out a way to go 2-0 the next 2 weeks. That is how you rebound from this. Beat Vandy and then win a road game. As difficult as that is to do for this Billy Napier squad, it's a bad South Carolina team who just got demolished by Tennessee. You beat Tennessee. You should be able to beat South Carolina. Adapt or die. Billy Napier is in a position where he's got to make some decisions and some changes immediately. I'm not saying he's going to go out and hire an offensive coordinator tomorrow. He's not. I am not saying there's people on his staff that are going to get fired tomorrow. That's not going to happen. But you have a staff talented enough that you should be able to shift around some responsibilities, maybe allow, Billy Gonzalez, Callaway to help you call some plays, give some special teams responsibilities to somebody else. Do something to see what you can do to bring about some change. Because if you continue the way that you are, you will continue to lose ball games. We're going to worry about the rest of the season as it happens. But beat Vanderbilt, beat South Carolina. You can go into the cocktail party 5-2. That is what this staff needs to do. It's what the program needs to do. And honestly, it's ultimately what the fan base needs. We got outplayed, outcoached, and yesterday absolutely sucked. There is really not a way to sugarcoat that. But Now this team has a chance to respond. They have a chance to show us what they're made of. This coaching staff has a chance to make changes. We will see in 6 days when an SEC opponent comes to the Swamp for homecoming if they are able to do those things.